The drum beats faster. Your palms tore open an hour ago. If you stop rowing, the man with the whip decides whether you eat tonight, or ever again. Could you survive this? Nobody keeps death rolls for men like you. But the King of Spain kept them for his own galleys. 13% of the rowing benches. Dead every single year. 10 years at an oar. That arithmetic gives you 1 chance in 4. It's 1571. You are chained by the ankle to a rowing bench on an Ottoman war galley off the western coast of Greece. You're 24. You were taken 11 months ago when the corsairs came for your coast. Benches like yours hold captured men from a dozen shores, beside peasant levies rowing because an empire told them to. 3 men share your oar, 1 timber shaft longer than a roof beam, and it owns all 3 of you. Your world is a plank 1 foot wide. You row on it. You eat on it. You sleep chained to it. Food is ship's biscuit, 600 to 800 grams a day, depending on whose navy owns you. Hard as tile and usually green with mold, washed down with water that smells like the barrel it rotted in. You start with 3 lives. A-like buys you 1 more, and where you're going, you will want it. One more thing nobody has told you yet. The thing that kills most men down here. It isn't the whip. Life at the oar runs in shifts. An hour and a half rowing, an hour and a half slumped where you sit. Then the drum again. Cruising, the ship holds 4 knots on your backs. When a sail is sighted, sprint speed. A pace human bodies can hold for 15 minutes, no more. You learn to eat mid-stroke, biscuit wedged in your cheek. You learn to sleep folded over the loom of the oar, salt crusting in your torn palms. The overseer walks the gangway with a length of tarred rope. You have learned the exact sound it makes on a man's back 2 benches forward. You row. At night, the rats come for anything soft, and the bilge sloshes black under your plank. 11 months of this has taught you the bench's 1 law. Everything you have, you hide. And tonight, in that dark, chance puts 3 things within reach. You can hide exactly 1. Choose. The knife first. Guards sweep these benches without warning, hands under every plank. Flogging is the everyday punishment of a galley. A weapon is not every day. A weapon whispers mutiny, and for a convict, mutiny means death. But you are property, too expensive to waste. So what they take from you is an ear or a nose, as a message to the rest of the bench. And still, a hidden knife is the one object on this ship that can say no to a chain. The biscuit is the safe pick. Hunger is a slow leak in your odds, and 1 ration is a plug. But you sleep shoulder to shoulder with 2 men, and nothing on a rowing bench stays secret. Chose the biscuit? On the 3rd night it's gone. Rats or an informer. The hunger you saved it for finds you anyway. The sailcloth is the smart pick. Your back is raw meat where it meets the wood, and down here festering is how small wounds kill. Chose the cloth? Your sores close. Your back holds through the summer. Chose the knife? 2 inspections come. Twice, a guard's hand slides along the underside of your plank and stops a finger's width short. You keep your ear. You keep your secret. It buys you nothing yet. Remember the date when it will. The 7th of October. Late September. Sails crowd every horizon. Your fleet assembling. More hulls than you can count from a bench. You row through an autumn blow, green water climbing over the outrigger. 3 men hauling 1 oar that fights back like a live thing. And now, the answer you were promised. The killer below deck isn't the whip, and it isn't the sea. It's fever. 1 year ago, typhus tore through the Venetian war fleet on this same sea. It took hold of their rowing benches and men sickened and died, bench by bench, all winter. Every galley in the Mediterranean sets the same table for it. Bodies packed tight, lice, heat, filth. It starts as a shiver in the man 2 oars down. Then the guards drag someone past your bench who was alive at the last drumbeat. And when fever lights below deck, the chains make sure nobody leaves the fire. You watch the rower across the gangway sweat through a cold night, and you do the only thing a chained man can do about it. You count the planks between his bench and yours. At dusk, word travels down the benches faster than any drum. Tomorrow at dawn, the horizon fills with crosses, 200 ships of the Holy League. And here is the bitter arithmetic of your seat. Across that horizon, the enemy commander is striking the chains off his Christian convict rowers and pressing swords into their hands, promising time off their sentences. On your ship, you are the danger. Your chains stay bolted down. Dawn, October 7th, 1571, the mouth of the Gulf of Patras. Coming at you, 206 galleys and 6 floating fortresses called galeasses. Around you, your own fleet, nearly 280 hulls. The morning wind is at your back, then, near mid-morning, it falters and dies. The sea goes to glass. The crosses come on anyway. The first cannonballs arrive before their sound. One passes low enough over your head to pull the air with it. Then the lines meet, and the sea disappears under wood and men and smoke. You are still chained, still rowing. Splinters stand in the plank beside your knee like thrown knives, and the smoke tastes of pitch and burnt wool. 4 hours. That is all this will take. Your bow is locked against an enemy hull. Boarding pikes hammer the rail. The drum stops. The drummer is gone, and somewhere in the wreckage of the deck, iron tears loose. Luck, picking benches at random. If you kept the knife, you don't wait for luck. You've been working the shackle pin since the first broadside, and you're free before the first border lands. You and the man chained beside you. Everyone else waits for the wreckage to choose them. You are holding a broken oar. You have 2 choices and seconds to make one. Over the side, the October water won't kill you. Around 22 degrees, exhaustion will. Distance is a lottery you didn't get to pick. On the landward wing, this battle is being fought in the shallows. 60 galleys will run aground there, and men are already wading ashore over the floating dead. In the center, there is nothing but open water for miles. So look up before you jump. Where is the land? Jumped from the center? You're swimming until your arms stop answering. Stay. This deck is about to belong to somebody. If the men in armor take it, you are a freedman standing in the winner's path. Drop the oar, show them the scars the shackle left, and pray they look before they thrust. If your masters hold it, they saw you standing free. By 4 in the afternoon, it is over. The Holy League has won. Somewhere between 25 and 30,000 men of your fleet are dead, nearly 8,000 of theirs. 117 galleys of your fleet, captured. And on those captured decks, the hammers are already swinging. In the wake of the victory, some 12,000 slaves, by some counts 15,000, come out of their chains, grown men holding up their bare ankles to the light. If you stayed on that deck, you are one of them. If you went over the side and the land was close, you're watching it end from the shallows, alive and nobody's property. Now look at your odds. 8% when the lines met this morning. 64 tonight, higher than they have been since the Corsairs took you. They went up. On one of the deadliest afternoons this sea has ever seen, the most dangerous place in your world quietly opened its only exit. That is the whole cruel joke of your year. The battle was the door. But before you celebrate, look across the water. On the deck of a Tuscan galley called the San Giovanni, on the winning side, stands a lame Florentine musician named Aurelio Schetti, convicted of murdering his wife. Spared on the executioner's block for one reason only. The Grand Duke of Tuscany needed rowers. The day they first locked the iron on his leg, he prayed, his own words, from the journal he kept. "I ask you to free me from this chain." Schetti rowed for the winners today. The victory that just freed 12,000 men from your fleet freed no one on his bench. Remember the promise shouted down the winners' benches this morning? Time off your sentence? Schetti's sentence was life. He petitioned for pardon, refused. Petitioned again, refused. 6 years from tonight, he will hand the Duke's son the journal itself. Page after page written as one long plea for mercy. There is no record that he was ever freed. Now, count your hearts. Chose the biscuit and the open water. You're out. unless you bank to spare, still holding at least one life. You made it out. Drop your decision 1 and decision 2 in the comments. Timestamp your picks. The survivor's bench is in the pinned comment. Here is the part that should keep you up tonight. The chains did not end when yours did. Europe's galleys kept rowing on convicts and slaves for nearly 180 more years. France only struck them for good in 1748, and the Knights of Malta were still chaining men to oars when Napoleon landed in 1798, more than 2 centuries after your battle. You survived the sea. Next week, no waves, no whips. Candlelight, silver plates, and every dish in the palace is passed to you first. You're the food taster of the Borgias. If the wine is clean, you live. If it isn't, you have minutes.